down on the floor, flat on our backs, and we're just going to start with some lumbar rolls. If we've been sat a lot, we just need to give the hips and the lower back a little bit of room to move. Starting with you think about hip width apart, and all I want you to do is let those knees drop out side to side, and whatever happens, happens, okay? Good. And you can play around with the foot width. If you play around with the foot width and take them a little bit wider, that will move up into the hips a little bit more. The narrower the feet, you'll come up and you'll get a bit more movement through your lower back, alright? Both of those things are absolutely fine. Also, what I want you to do now is roll right over onto one side. Okay, so the knees sit in a 90-degree position, and one hand's on top of the other. All I want you to do from here is just open out and come back. And get 5 big rotations going in one direction, and then we'll get 5 rotations going the other way. And we're going to roll right over and then do 5 rotations going the other way. I'll just move into a better position so you can see. There we go. Good. Alright, that's kind of get a bit of rotation up through the spine. Where we're heading next, guys, alright, is into a press-up position. Okay, so we're going to hit that long plank position, and we're just going to start with one foot up, close to outside of the hand. If it's back a little bit, that's not a problem. And I just want you to draw a big circle with your hip and pelvis, 3 times clockwise, and then 3 times anti-clockwise. Alright, we're getting into the hips and getting them to move. Once we've done 3 each way, the hand that's nearest the foot, we're going to take that off the floor. We're going to reach through underneath the body and then hand to ceiling, try to open the chest. And just get 3 big rotations here. And then we're going to do exactly the same thing over on the other side. So stepping my left foot up towards my left hand. It doesn't matter if it's not right outside. If it's back a little bit, that's okay, but I want to keep the entire foot flat to the floor. Right, from there, draw 3 big circles with your pelvis in one direction, and then 3 big circles with my pelvis in the other direction. Then staying in this position, hand that's nearest the foot off the floor, I reach through underneath the body, and then I'm turning my hand to the ceiling, but I want to try and open my chest and point my sternum at that front knee. Good, once I've had those 3 rotations, we're back into a press-up position, and we're just going to hit a downward facing dog, so hips high to the ceiling, pushing the floor away, slight bend in the knees if I need it, and we're just pressing each heel down towards the floor. And then nice and slowly, what we're going to do with the arms is we're slowly going to walk our hands in towards our feet, bending the knees where I need to, we drop into a little squat and stand. Good job. I'm warming up quite nicely now. We're just going to hit a few lunges, then I'm going to tell you exactly what we're doing today and how we're going to do it. So, you guys know my lunges by now, alright? We're going to do some forwards, some backwards, some sideways, and then we're all set and ready to go. So 3 forward lunges on each leg, dropping the hands to the floor like you're tying up your laces, and push back to standing. Making sure that back knee drops and bends, and I come up and then I switch sides. Good. And once I've done my forward ones, I'm going to do exactly the same, but I'm going to step backwards. And this time I'm going to throw my hands up high in the air. So my back knee drops towards the floor. I'm still in that lunge position, squat position with my front leg, and stand. 3 on one leg, and then switch and 3 on the other. Beautiful. Good. And then finally, we're just going to work in a sideways lunge. So I'm going to step out, the leg that's stepping away, that becomes my squat leg or my lunge leg. The opposite hand comes down and touches somewhere on the shin or the ankle, and then I come back up. It's a completely sideways step, so you can see my feet stay together, and I squat and touch, and then I do 3 going the opposite way. Good. And we are done. I mean, when I mean done, that's our warm-up done. Okay. So, how things are going to work today. We've got a single leg squat, And I want you to use a chair or a sofa for this as a marker, okay? We've then got a single leg hip thrust in there as well. We've actually got a core exercise in between those two things, which is a mountain climbing variation, which I'll show you. So we've got a single leg squat, left leg and right leg. We'll then do a core exercise. We're then going to do a single leg hip thrust, which I'll show you in a second, left leg then right leg. And then we'll do another core exercise, and that'll be one round, okay? But there's 6 exercises there, and we're going to try and get through them 3 times with a minute rest between each round. In terms of getting the work done today, your options are 30 seconds work, 30 seconds rest. Alright, or you can go 40-20 or 50-10. But let me tell you, the single leg squat and the hip thrust, they're going to be a real challenge. So what I suggest is when the quality of the movement kind of starts to be an issue on any of the movements actually, that's when you're going to stop. So you're going to self-select how much rest you have per round, okay? But at the end of the minute round, we go straight to the next exercise. So the single leg squat today, you're going to need a sofa or a chair handy, okay? And how we're going to do it is I'll balance on one leg and I sit down to the seat and I stand. I sit and touch. What I'm trying not to do is bounce off my sofa because I'll send it backwards. Okay, I also don't want to rock if I can help it. Okay, and we want to make sure that the leg I'm on as I'm squatting down, my knee, my hip and my toe stay in a relatively straight line. Okay, and we're going to do for time the 40 seconds on one leg. We'll rest 20 seconds, then we'll do our right leg. Okay, we've then got what I call above and below mountain climber. So on mountain climber, I'm in a press-up position, okay, and I'm going to go right knee touch the forearm below the elbow and back, and then right knee touch above the elbow, and then I'll switch below, straighten the leg above the elbow, left and right, left and right, left and right, okay. So touch the knee below the elbow, touch the knee above the elbow, then switch sides, backwards and forwards for the time. Our next exercise is our hip thrust, okay, and the hip thrust is, I want to be in a position where my shoulder blades are fully supported and I want my knee to be over my ankle. I then bring a leg off the floor, drop my hips to the floor, up and touch. I want to be looking through at my knee all the time, and I'm coming back up into this table position where my shoulders, hips and knee are in a nice straight line, okay. I'm just going to work through here. I'll then rest for the remainder of the set, and then I'll come up and I'll do my opposite leg for the same amount of time. Then our final exercise is a full plank walkout. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to hinge at the hips, hands down to the floor. I'm going to walk out like I'm doing an inchworm, and then in that press-up position I'm going to hold, and I'm going to try and continue to walk my hands as far forward as possible, and then walk them all the way back and stand and go back down and out. We only want to go as far as we can, maintaining a really good pelvis position, okay? So if I walk my hands too far and my hips drop and sag towards the floor, or when you're starting to feel it too much in your lower back, that's a cue to not take your hands quite as far. We want to make sure that your pelvis is able to stay nice and flat. Okay, if you imagine my pelvis tipping forward, it angles that way. I want to tip it flat at the very least. It's going to feel like you're rotating it the other way around it, but that's going to give us good engagement through the core and then protect our lower back as we're walking out with that. Okay, those are our movements. I've talked for long enough. We are going to start in 15 seconds. Okay, so we are starting with a single leg squat. Everyone set and ready to go? Yes? Alrighty, here it comes. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Away we go. We single leg balance and we squat and stand. So remember, we're pushing the floor away. We're trying to stay balanced. We're trying not to rush on the way down. Nice and controlled. Use your hands to support. That's 20 seconds gone right there. If you're finding it pretty comfortable because the chair's a certain height, you're just going to slow it down. Okay, so I slow down and then I can push on the way up. If you're starting to struggle, we're at 35 seconds, you can just come down on one leg, plant your foot and then stand back up. So you can just work on the control element on the way down, put another foot down, that's 45 seconds there. If you're still going, 3, 2, 1, that's time there. Good, rest, we've got 10 seconds before we move on to the next leg. Exactly the same position, we're just switching legs now. Ready? 3, 2, 1, away we go. Slowly down, push to stand. And bear in mind guys, I said we're doing 3 rounds of this today, okay? So what that means is, you might want to use this first round as a little bit of a taster, and just go for 30 or 35 seconds, because you can always add more volume, i.e. more time, in rounds 2 and 3. Nice and controlled. So remember, as we're dropping, we want to make sure that that knee's not collapsing in, that I'm not falling backwards. Okay, that's 35 seconds there. Remember, we don't want to bounce off the sofa, we don't really want to roll if we can help it. That's 45, there's 5 seconds to go if you're still working. That's time there. So we're down to those above and below mountain climbers now, okay? Press up position, we start in 3, 2, 1. So on the right side, right knee below the elbow on the forearm, and then above. Back to that press up position, below and above. So side on, below, fully extend, and then come above. If you're struggling to get close, that's okay. You just create as much compression through your midline as possible, okay? Below, above, below, above. Pushing really hard through the floor to maintain a good stable upper body, and making sure that in that press-up position, I'm not sagging towards the floor. That's 40 seconds gone right there. 5, 2, 1, and time. Now you're back to your chair or your sofa, and we're coming down into our bridge position. You can do this off the floor as well if you need to. 3, 2, 1, away we go. So one leg off the floor in this set position. I don't need to hold it out here because it just makes it a shorter lever for me to hold. And again with this guys, it's really important I control my pelvis position, okay? So as I'm lowering to the floor and I'm pushing back up, I don't want to be pushing and opening my rib cage and staring at the ceiling. I want to keep my gaze towards my knee so I can keep my rib cage down and flat. That's 35 seconds gone. And pushing to the floor, and I'm really trying to squeeze that glute on the side that's working. 3, 2, 1, that's 50 seconds there. You're going to rest. 5 seconds, we're switching legs. In 3, 2, 1, away we go. So we don't want the foot tucked too far under the knee. It needs to be out and level. And pumping out those reps, nice and controlled. No, we don't need to be rushing the repetitions. Slow, and remember, we're not using any weight today, which means that you're going to increase the difficulty by letting gravity help. So more time and attention, slowing things down. 35 gone. Good. And that is time there. So we're into our full walkouts now. Okay, so you need a good bit of space for this. So we hinge at the hips, we bend our knees to get our hands to the floor. Away we go. Hinge at the hips, bend the knees, hands down. Walk yourself out into a press-up position, and then keep the core tight and walk the hands out as far as you can without losing that lower back shape. So it might only be one step before you have to come back, and then you walk, bending the knees all the way, stand tall, hinge at the hips, walk out through the back roll position into the press up, walk the hands out, and slowly come back, all the way in, pushing the floor away every step, really active with the arms. 10 seconds to go, this might be your last one, if you're still working. And time there. Good. There we go, guys. That's one round. That's one round done. Well done. Minute rest. And we're going to go again. We're going to use a slightly firmer bench. It's about the same height, so you guys know I'm not cheating. Alright, good stuff. Everyone okay with that? Yeah? All good. That's 15 seconds of rest gone. So just make sure, guys, take your time. Anything where we're working on one leg, there's always a balance requirement because our centre of gravity shifts a little bit, okay? And so that's really important that we just use that as an opportunity to move a little bit more slowly, a little bit more deliberately, allow the stabilising muscles to figure out what they're doing, to coordinate all those joints that are moving and where our body's trying to go. So just slow things down and get it right. And then you can build the speed and the number of repetitions in as you become more competent and more confident. Okay, everyone in position for your squats. We have 10 seconds. That'll be the fastest minute of the day. And this will probably be the slowest. Everyone ready? 3, 2, 1, away we go. So we sit and stand. Nice and slow and controlled. Making sure that the knee travels directly over the toe as you come down and back up. We don't want to be having our heel lift off the floor, and we don't want our hips so far back that we end up falling backwards. We need to be able to support our body weight down and up, almost as if it's not there at all. Okay? So that's just a guide for me to be able to come back up. Good, that's 40 seconds gone. Remember, you can use your hands to balance and support. 3, 2, 1, and time there. Shake that right leg out, or your left leg out, whichever one you just used. And we're getting ready to work that opposite leg. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, away we go. I'm trying to treat it as much like a regular squat as I possibly can. Thinking about how I stay balanced over that foot, how I maintain my posture, keeping that core tight, thinking about how I push back up rather than trying to use momentum. So can I just take a pause there without moving, without sitting back, and can I push back up and through? That's 35 seconds gone there, guys. Remember, if you started with a slightly shorter set in the first round, it's 45 seconds gone there. You might want to up the time a little bit. 3, 2, 1. Awesome. There we go. Okay, we're into our mountain climbers now, guys. Down into position. 3, 2, 1. So I'm holding that good solid press up position. I bring my knee into my forearm, below my elbow, and then I try and get my knee above. And I just change that from side to side. Making sure that once I've had that low touch, I go back to full extension and then I come up. So you might notice when you're going for the above that you have to compress, you have to push the floor away a bit more, you have to tap your pelvis a bit more. That's completely fine. That's being caused by a big contraction of your abdominals. Good, that's 40 seconds gone there. And 45. 2, 1, time there. Good. We're back to the bench. And we're into our hip thrusts. In 3, 2, 1, away we go. So shoulders are on that bench. Okay, bottom of the shoulder blade is the ideal. And we're down and up. All the time I'm looking forwards, keeping my chin tucked in. That prevents me from pushing too hard through my shoulders and looking up to the sky and opening my ribcage, which stops a lot of the spinal extension and forces the extension into the hip, which means that my glute does more work. That's 40 seconds gone there, guys. Two, one, and time. Stay where you are, because we're going to go on to the other leg. Ready? 3, 2, 1, away we go. So just remember that that leg that we're working now needs to be fairly central in terms of your centre of gravity. If it's too far out to the side, you won't maintain your balance. So the hinge point, there's two. You're hinging at the hip, but you're also hinging where your body meets the bench or the chair or the sofa. Okay? I'm looking forwards all the time, especially here. I'm keeping my ribcage down, squeezing through the glute. There's 30 seconds gone. Getting a good squeeze at the top. 5 seconds. And time there. Into our full body walkouts. Okay, like a big inch-room, and then we go through a plank walkout as well. Here we go, in 3, 2, 1. So I hinge at the hip, bend the knees, hands down, walk out into that plank, and then I keep going. And when I feel like I'm not going to be able to make another step without collapsing, I need to come back. So always work in smaller hands than you think you might need. So if I go smaller hands, I can maintain that sense of stiffness through my midsection, which means that my hips won't sag and drop to the floor, and I won't get that forward tilt, anterior tilt in my pelvis. That's 40 seconds on the clock there. 45. And time there. Nice, 2 rounds done. One more round to go. Good job, guys, well done. So if you're building up the rounds, that's absolutely great. So if you went closer to 30 on the first round, and now you've gone for 40, you're just going to see where you're at now, okay? We want good technical proficiency of the movements all the time. Okay, that's our number one. That's going to dictate exactly how many reps you do or how long you work for in each of the sets, okay? Really good, nicely done. And remember that time and attention is the way that you make things more difficult if you're already at that 50-second marker, okay? Slowing it on the way down and on the way up. We have got 20 seconds before we go into our last round. So if you want a real challenge here for the time that you're working, a 2-second lower and a 2-second on the way up. Okay, moving slowly on the way up is really difficult because gravity doesn't want to let you move that slowly. Okay, it's a real challenge. And that's how we're going to make it more difficult. Into position, here we go in 3, 2, 1. So if I go down, 2, and then I'm going to come up, 2, rather than coming down and really trying to explode on the way up. Okay, I'm going to go that little bit slower. So there's 0 momentum. And when I reach the top, as soon as I'm getting towards full extension in the leg, I want to start coming back down. What I don't want to do is get to the top so I can actually relax a little bit. I want to just keep the number of repetitions going. That's the 30-second mark there, guys. And remember, if your legs are starting to give out on you now at this point, come down slowly on 2 legs, plant the foot, stand back up, and then carry on going. Back to single leg. That's 45 seconds. And that is time there. Good job. Nicely done. We're 5 seconds away from our last round of squats, that is. Ready? 3, 2, 1, let's go. Slow down. Slow up. Stay under tension all the time. So I'm keeping my non-supported leg contracted all the time, and I'm creating stiffness through my upper body as well, so that all of the force I'm pushing through my leg actually goes down through my leg into the floor to get me to stand up. If I relax, I've got to try and drive stiffness in as I go, okay? So I stay tight and braced. All my movement is deliberate. That's 45 seconds on the clock. 3, 2, 1, and time there. Good, so we're into our mountain climbers now. I'll move this up and out of the way. Good stuff, we're almost there guys, 4 minutes to go. Ready, 3, 2, 1, here we go into those mountain climbers. Touch below, touch above, touch below, touch above the elbow. Pushing into the floor all the time, okay? Don't let your chest drop through and sag into that space. Push the floor away. Spread your shoulder blades. Stay active through your upper body all the time. And just get the reps in. Remember, I go low, I go back, my foot doesn't touch the floor. That's 40 seconds on the clock. 5 seconds. 2, 1, and time. Onto the feet, back to your chair or your sofa, whatever it is you're using for your hip thrusts. Into position. Ready? 3, 2, 1, and away we go. So your hips drop towards the floor. As I'm coming up, I'm thinking about tipping my pelvis. So you should be able to see your pubic bone, okay, rather than being able to see your chest and your rib cage. 20 on. Good. Big squeeze at the top. Okay, so I come down, 2, up, 2, hold, 2. That's the real challenge here. Getting a hold in as well. That's 40 seconds on the clock. Remember, we don't want to be up on the toe, the entire foot stays flat. And that's time there. Good. We have got the other leg to do. 3, 2, 1. So remember, it's the bottom of my shoulder blades need to be on the edge of the sofa or the chair. And I'm looking through towards my pelvis all the time, so I keep my chin down, that keeps my rib cage down. It allows the contraction to go right into the glute. Down, 2, up, 2, hold, 2, down, 2, up, 2. If you're going for the full 50, that's how we're going to slow it, make it more difficult. So we're going to slow it down and get a good peak contraction right at the very top. All right, good. Keep working. Don't worry about counting the reps. Just maintain the quality. If I'm starting to notice that I'm breaking and my lower back's doing more work, you're done. You just sit and you rest until we're finished. That's time there. Here we go, guys. This is the last one. So if you want to make this more challenging, we're not going to come all the way back up. Okay? Which means we get more walkouts in. 3, 2, 1, let's go. So I walk down and out, through my breast up to here, and I come back. I'm just going to come back towards my feet and I go straight back out so I can get more walkouts in. Side on, I'm here. Good, and just keep pumping out those reps. Remember, small hands. Once I'm past the press up position, I'm going to go small to find out where my pinch point is. We're nearly done. 3, 2, 1, and time. Nicely done. Can't see it on the camera, but there's sweat dripping off my nose. Awesome, guys. Well done. All right. Just remember, when we're doing things with no body weight, with no body weight, with just body weight, with no external load, the way that we make things more difficult is we either increase the density by doing more reps, increase the time that we're working for, or if we're working for a set amount of time or repetitions,
we will use time and attention. So how long can you take to perform certain elements of the repetition? And that's just going to make it more challenging because you're doing more mechanical work. The muscles having to contract for a longer period of time. All right, so you can definitely get good work done even without any weights available. So nicely done today. Well done, guys. I sweating more than I thought I would have been off the back of that. All right, good stuff. Okie dokie. Little bit of a cool down for us, particularly for our legs. Okay, so let's start by opening up the hips. Down, take a knee in this half kneeling position. I'm going to run my hands down either side of my foot, big reach forward, and a big circle and finish with my hands over my head. Okay, so in a side-on position, I haven't dropped too far forwards here. My torso's come forward, I've got a nice straight body length, and down through my back leg, and I sweep up and hold here. So I haven't let everything drop, I haven't taken my shoulders further back on my hips, I've just reached tall to create some length here. Okay? Good, slowly come down, pop your hands either side of that front leg, and all you're going to do now is just on and off, start to straighten the front leg. So your hips are going to travel backwards, and this front leg's going to lengthen a bit. Your toes might come off the floor, that's absolutely fine. Not a problem. Good stuff. And then we're going to do exactly the same thing on the other side. So I'm going to come into a half kneeling position. Back knee underneath the hip, front knee underneath the ankle. Reach down either side of the foot. Reach out in front. So notice as I reach forward, I'm already opening that hip. And then I bring my hands up over my head. And that continues the length of the stretch here. I might need to back off a little bit. I might be able to sit in. What we don't want to do is exactly the same thing as in the workout. We don't want that pelvis to tip and angle forwards. Okay? Good. Hands down, either side of the foot, and exactly the same thing with the hands supported on the floor. I'm just going to put some length into the hamstring. On and off. Whatever happens to the toes is fine, they might lift. I might only get a little tiny bit of movement, I might be able to get a bit more. Excellent, guys, well done. Okay, so let's finish off getting into the hip and the glute. In an all-four position. Okay, what I want you to do from this tabletop position is take one leg back straight, and then the other knee that's still bent. Rotate that foot so it swings up underneath the body, and then you're going to drop that back knee down to lock the foot in place. And then all you're going to do, if your pressure is going down through your right knee as the front knee, you're going to move back towards 4 or 5 o'clock. So you're going to push your hips back into that corner and try and find a stretch point, try and find some tight corners, and just very much like we did in the warm-up, maybe circle the hip and the pelvis in different directions. If your left knee is the front knee, you're pushing back towards 7 or 8 o'clock. Okay, and we're just going to get into the glute, into the hip joint. Good. Awesome. Slowly come back into that tabletop position, and we do exactly the same thing on the other side. So I push one leg back out straight, I rotate the foot so it's up underneath my body somewhere, and then I use my back knee to lock the foot in place, and whichever is the front knee, I'm pushing back into that, what we call a posterior lateral corner. Okay, so I'm going backwards and out to the side. Look into, you might get a big glute stretch, you might feel it more actually into the hip joint, so you're getting a bit more of what we call a capsular stretch. Both are absolutely fine. Applying a little bit of pressure down into the floor through that front leg, and that will get the pressure building up into the hip socket. Remember, if it's the right knee you've got forward, you're pushing back towards 4 or 5 o'clock. If it's your left leg, you're pushing back towards 7 or 8 o'clock. Or you can do little, once you've pushed into that corner, you can do little circles.
rotations. Good. And back to all fours. Guys, that's us done.